The Sentinel Prime paradox. Two faces of treachery. Betrayal is a wound that never fully heals. When it's a mentor who turns, the scar runs deepest. In the Transformers multiverse, no betrayal cuts sharper than that of Sentinel Prime. To many, Dark of the Moon's twist was the breach the moment we realized Optimus's teacher had become his greatest enemy. But in Transformers 1, that betrayal is only the tip of a far older, more insidious corruption. Two Sentinel Primes. One betrays for a dying Cybertron. One betrays to steal gods themselves. Same name, different sins. Tonight, we explore both and ask, which betrayal is darker? Which scars worse? The Bayverse twist. In Dark of the Moon, Sentinel Prime returns after years missing. He arrives as savior, holding secrets from the past. Yet beneath the veneer lies a deal with Megatron. Pillars. Deception. The promise to bring Cybertron to Earth at any cost. His betrayal is framed as pragmatism, the desperate gamble of a leader who thought all hope was lost. But the cost is monumental. Ironhide dead. Autobot trust shattered. Human lives reduced to slave labor. Optimus Prime, his disciple, forced to kill not just an enemy, but his mentor. The TF1 revelation. In Transformers 1, Sentinel Prime is ushered not as returning savior, but original traitor. He was once chief advisor among the 13 Primes, bound by duty and canon. Yet, he struck a darker bargain. He betrayed and slaughtered his peers, allied with the Quintessons, and claimed the title of Prime for himself. He wasn't corrupted. He deceived a lineage. He stole the Matrix, only to be rejected by it. He built a hierarchy on lies, controlled the cogless, to alien oppressors as tribute. That's not desperation. That's dominion. The paradox of two betrayals. So, how do these betrayals compare? Bayverse Sentinel, a tragic pragmatist, staking betrayal as necessity. Transformers 1, a usurper, murdering the cosmic order to sit on a throne of lies. The first betrayal tears down a bridge. The second dismantles the foundation. One forces change through desperation. The other forces change through deceit, rewriting history to claim power. In the next act, we'll trace Bayverse Sentinel's path, the weight he carried, the illusions he sold, and the destruction he wrought. Then, we'll contrast it with the colder, more ancient lie, Transformers 1's original treachery. Because two betrayals, same mask, both must be understood. Bayverse Sentinel, the burden of leadership. They called him the greatest of the Primes, the last ancient warrior, a legend buried in Cybertron's past, until he returned to a world that had moved on. But when Sentinel Prime rose again, it wasn't to lead, it was to betray. In Transformers, Dark of the Moon, Sentinel Prime is reintroduced not with villainous fanfare, but reverence. To Optimus, he is more than a Prime. He is a mentor, a symbol, a bridge to a nobler past. But beneath that reverence lay a burden: the collapse of Cybertron, the failure of the Primes, and centuries of silence in exile. And it is within this silence that Sentinel Prime made his choice. The great justification. He didn't side with Megatron out of loyalty. He did it because he believed there was no other path. a fractured Cybertron, a dead homeworld, and a young Prime, barely tempered by war. To Sentinel, Optimus was idealistic, naive, unprepared to make the sacrifice necessary to save their people. So Sentinel Prime made a deal with the devil. He would give Earth to the Decepticons, and in return, Megatron would provide the power to restore Cybertron through the space bridge. To him, it wasn't conquest. It was restoration. A painful, brutal compromise, but one he believed only he could make. The tragedy of the Mentor's fall. Yet, the road to hell is paved with broken ideals. Sentinel didn't just make the deal. He became the enforcer. Without hesitation, he kills Ironhide. He threatens humanity. He builds towers of servitude and dares call it salvation. Optimus, once the student, is forced to confront a terrible truth: that the Prime he admired is no longer the Prime he remembers. And when Optimus defeats Sentinel, it's not a victory. It's a mercy. In the Bayverse, Sentinel Prime is not just a villain. He is a symbol of leadership gone awry. A Prime who mistook ends for means. A savior who became a tyrant in the name of logic. He believed he carried the burden of leadership, but in truth, he buried it. TF 1 Sentinel, the origin of deception. In Transformers 1, we journey to the beginning, to a time before war, before faction, when hope still lingered in the sparks of future leaders. And in this early Cybertronian age, a different Sentinel Prime emerges. This Sentinel is not burdened by the ruin of war, not yet. Instead, he shapes the future. He guides Orion Pax. He helps build the foundations of Cybertronian civilization. But something festers beneath that polished exterior. The early seeds of control. In a world striving for peace, Sentinel Prime may not have been content with merely maintaining order. He may have wanted to shape it. Not just a peacekeeper, but an architect. One who believes only he knows what is best for Cybertron. And as Orion Pax rises, as his ideals take form, as his name becomes Optimus, we begin to see cracks in Sentinel's legacy. A betrayal born of ideals. This betrayal may not come from desperation, as it did in the Bayverse. It may stem from ideology, from a belief that compromise, democracy, or even freedom itself is inefficient, that Cybertron needs a firm hand, and that Sentinel must be that hand. And when others like D16, the gladiator who would become Megatron, begin to gain influence, Sentinel may see a different path, one paved not with cooperation, but with calculated manipulation, the most dangerous type of traitor. If Bayverse Sentinel was a martyr corrupted by pragmatism, then Transformers 1 Sentinel may be far more dangerous, because he believes in his own righteousness. This is not betrayal for gain, it's betrayal for vision. And in many ways, that makes him more terrifying than any Decepticon. In Transformers 1, we may see Sentinel Prime as a visionary gone astray, a revolutionary who mistakes domination for destiny. And if so, his fall will not be a twist. It will be a prophecy fulfilled, the legacy of betrayal. Who's the worst Sentinel? In the grand halls of Cybertronian history, the name Sentinel Prime was once spoken with reverence. Now, it echoes with doubt, with betrayal. But which Sentinel left the deeper scar? The Bayverse fallout. Bayverse Sentinel shattered more than just Chicago's skyline. He broke Optimus Prime's trust. He corrupted the very mantle of Prime, turning it into a weapon against Earth. He proved that even a Prime, even a teacher, could fall. And when he did, he forced Optimus to choose justice or mercy. And mercy died that day. Bayverse Sentinel left behind a trail of ash. But more than that, he left disillusionment, that heroes can become monsters. Transformers 1's lasting wound. But TF1 Sentinel, if the theory holds, might be worse. Not because he betrayed at the end, but because he betrayed at the beginning. This Sentinel could be the architect of mistrust, the spark that divided Orion Pax and D16. He may not just break a city, he might fracture an entire generation of Cybertronians. If Bayverse Sentinel killed the present, TF1 Sentinel could poison the future. Which betrayal lingers? So who's worse? The Sentinel who traded worlds to save his own? Or the one who sowed seeds of war while wearing the armor of peace? And one was pragmatic, the other ideological. Both saw themselves as saviors. Neither realized they were just villains wearing Prime's name. Sentinel Prime's name should have stood for hope. Instead, it became a cautionary tale that the greatest betrayals don't come from your enemies. They come from those you once called brother. The Sentinel paradox, betrayer or broken ideal. In every great saga, there is always one figure who defies simplicity, a name that straddles the line between honor and horror. In Transformers lore, that name is Sentinel Prime. He wasn't born a monster. He was once a savior, the kind of leader Cybertron believed in and needed. But the deeper tragedy, he may have believed in his cause, even when it twisted him into something unrecognizable. Bayverse Sentinel fell under the weight of pragmatism. TF1 Sentinel, if our worst fears come true, may fall to something even darker. Ideology masked as vision, ambition disguised as duty. These aren't betrayals of war. They're betrayals of trust, of friendship, of legacy. Sentinel Prime teaches us a truth too many forget, that greatness without humility becomes tyranny. That power without empathy breeds ruin, and that even the brightest icons can cast the longest shadows. So when the next Sentinel rises, we won't just ask, what does he fight for? But also, who will he become when the cost of peace feels greater than the price of betrayal? This isn't just about who was worse. It's about the legacy left behind. And the question no Cybertronian or human should ever stop asking: what kind of Prime will you choose to be?